welcome to Survivor Live. Join us using hashtag Survivor Live. We will take your questions on Twitter and incorporate them into the show as we go. Also, be sure to stick around for the exclusive extended preview after the episode. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest, Trish. I know we have so much to talk about. People are going crazy on Twitter. The fans are going crazy. This episode was huge. So let's just dive right in.
Okay, I'm ready.
That was my spiel. It was like really fast, right? Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm happy to have you here because you can give us some insight into what the heck is going on with this very dysfunctional family.
It's very dysfunctional, yes.
So do you think that Wu stated it correctly?
When he said that he was the yes, I do. I think Tony and I were the mother and the father, and oh yes.
And Cass is the disgruntled sister with a chip on her shoulder. And Spencer's the brother who's like shut the door. He has the keep out sign taped onto the door.
Was that not the best description?
I thought it was perfect.
Oh,
I
did
loved
too.
it.
I did too. I laughed about that for a long time after. I really did. Yeah, that was great.
So what was it about Tony that made you stick with him like glue?
Well, Tony and I made a really strong alliance from the beginning. We were at the bottom of our alliance of the Brawn, and him and I connected in being on the bottom. And
because Lindsay and Cliff and Wu were together?
Well, Lindsay and Cliff were really their only alliance. They only had one another, but they thought that at first they kind of had Sarah, but then Sarah realized that she didn't want to be part of that. And Wu, at that stage of the game, really was like, I don't know what side. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what side he was on. So, but Cliff would make some pretty negative remarks about Tony, and he definitely didn't talk to me at all. I mean, I'd ask him a question, he wouldn't answer me.
So was the blind side with Cliff, was that personal?
No, it was just that I was afraid that people were going to be like really. I thought that they were going to be impressed by his NBA status,
like sucked into his
orbit. NBA, yeah.
Once the merge came,
and he was obviously very physical, and so it would have been tough to beat him at any of the challenges. And he just, it would have been really hard to go 39 days with someone that wouldn't even look at you and talk to you, you know?
Wow, okay, so that's how you and Tony bonded in the beginning.
We bonded in the beginning because we knew that Cliff and Lindsay didn't like us, and we knew that they were making fun of us. I mean, every time Tony walked away, they were making fun of Tony, so I assumed that every time I walked away, they were making fun of me, you know?
Right.
And it just sets up for a very unhealthy environment.
And do people not realize that?
I know.
Like, if you're sitting around on Survivor talking about someone in a bad way, or lying to someone about something, and the person that you're sitting with knows that you're lying, when you walk away, the person you've been having this conversation with, that you know the other person's lying, don't they know that you're like, oh, well, this person's lying to me, of course they're going to lie to this. Or they're lying to this person who's their best friend, like Tony is lying to Wu, why wouldn't he be lying to me?
Right.
It's just like, I don't know, I think sometimes we want to be the ones who are like the special ones that change everybody. But a zebra can't change his stripes, right?
No, they can't. No.
So were you aware that Tony was lying so much before he started blindsiding LJ and the trail of...
I knew pretty early on that Tony was very good. I'm a very good judge of character, and I knew Tony was very good at what he did. Mm-hmm. But I also knew that Tony was on my side, or at least I felt like he was. So I felt like I was in a safe place being his ally, and I was his number one ally out there.
I know. I thought he was on your side.
Yeah, he was.
100%. I was like, I look at that relationship. I compared it a lot to mine and Russell's relationship in Heroes versus Villains.
Right.
Because Russell was like the maniac who was running around getting idols all the time, like spinning his wheels and never slept. And I was just like, oh my God, you're exhausting.
Right.
Take a deep breath, relax, buddy. You know? And it looked like you had that calming effect on Tony, that he really needed you around to keep him grounded.
Well, because he was really spinning a lot. Like, his mind works 1,000 miles an hour. The guy's a genius. I mean, a criminal genius or whatever, however you want to state it. The guy's
evil mastermind.
He's a really mastermind, but he's a good person too. I mean, you have to remember that what Tony does in his job every day is he's a police officer, and he doesn't work, a regular beat. So
do you think because he's a police officer, he can read into people like criminals?
I think he deals with scumbags every day.
Yeah, so he knows how to be one. So did he turn into one when he was on the island? Did he take on that?
No, I don't know if there's so much that he took on that character. I just think that he knew how to play that character, and he made a conscious decision to himself that he was going to win the $1 million, and if that meant him being that character, he was willing to play it.
Yeah.
Because that's not really who
Even
he
if he had to take out his backup.
I know.
Were you surprised when you saw that vote?
I was surprised. I wanted to. Well, this is the funny thing is I was always defending Tony. So then I get back to Ponderosa and I'm like, well, at least Tony didn't write my name down because they didn't read the last vote.
Right.
LJ's like, ooh, bud, I got some bad news for you. He did write your name down. And I was like, no, he didn't. And she said, yeah, he did. And then all of a sudden I was like, get that camera back. Because I had said such nice things about him. I'm like, bring that camera back. I'm changing my mind.
We're going to have to rewatch that Ponderosa video for sure.
I was kind of upset for about 30 seconds. And I was upset that he wrote my name down. Mm-hmm. But there was a reason for that he wrote that name down.
Why? So you've talked to Tony since.
Yes.
And cleared the air.
Yes.
What'd you do? Call him last night and be like, you little dirty scoundrel.
Well, we pretty much kept in touch the whole time.
Okay.
And since we left the island.
Okay, so you confronted him right away then?
Yeah, well, I forgave him right away, for the most part, you know. I was a little upset when I got back to Ponderosa and wrote his name down, and I kept saying to him, why did you write my name down? And he said, the reason why he wrote my name down, I'm sure everyone at home is going to be like, and you believed him. The reason why he wrote my name, I know, right?
Everyone is.
The reason why I wrote his name down was, he wrote my name down was because he knows that I'm a person of honor. Like, I was always like, if you said it, own it, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
and then it's over, you know? And so I think he felt as though if he didn't write my name down, even though I could see that he was going to want me out, that I would have not respected him. Like, I would have thought he was a wimp, like trying to get himself out of it by not writing my name down. So it didn't make him look bad, even though he was in on voting me out. So he wanted me to know that he was in on voting me out, and he did write my name down. Because otherwise, I would have been like, "You wimp! Why didn't you write my, why did you write my name down? You know,
right?
Why didn't you write my name down
honestly,
or whatever?
Why didn't he just give you his idol? He has too.
And everyone keeps asking me the same question. Why would he give me his idol if he wanted me out?
Why did he want you out? He has to go to the end with somebody. He might as well go to the end with you.
Because he thought that in a popularity, because Cass, when I woke up that morning, that's why I snapped on Cass. I woke up on that morning and I heard Cass talking to Tony, and I heard her saying that I was useless, I was lazy, but yet at the same time, because she always makes so much sense, she also said that no one there could beat me, because I had played a social game.
So Cass got into his head.
So Cass got into his head, and so did Wu, I think, and they kept saying to him, Tony, you've pissed everybody off in the jury, and no one's going to vote for you, but everyone likes Trish. If you go up there, if you make it to the end with Trish, she's going to beat you.
Wow, so he got played. The
player got played. The player got played.
That makes a lot of sense, because I'm like, there's no point. And honestly, as a jury member, looking at that move and watching him blindside you, his right-hand man for the whole entire game, it's like, you lost me right there. If he would have brought you to the end and been like, I can win no matter what, based on merit, based upon how I've played this game, and bring you to the end, and
right.
Or you guys bring each other to end, whoever would win that last challenge, that's respectable to me. I think it's Survivor gets a little bit skewed at the end where there's jury votes, and you think you can get in your head like, oh, do these people like me enough to vote for me?
Right.
Because if you can make a compelling argument that I played the best game out here, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what I did this move, that move, and I plan to get here with these people because these are my allies, that is hands down, that's the best game.
Right.
You gotta play with allies.
Right, I totally agree with that. But what happened was, I wanted my whole gameplay. I followed my game. I wanted to be social and be friendly and fun with it, which comes naturally to me. I wanted to be helpful, which also comes naturally to me because I'm a hard worker. And I kind of wanted to just sort of play that, and I did. My name never really came up.
Yeah.
Outside of that one time that Cass and Sarah said she didn't want to write my name down, which I really feel bad about because we had made a promise that we wouldn't write each other's name down, and that's the only promise that I backed out on.
When you voted Sarah.
And I had to forgive myself for it because I really like Sarah, and that was a really
it's a game.
I know.
You're so nice.
But it was hard for me to do that to her.
You're so nice. But you did say in one of your videos that you're too nice. Oh, your exit interview.
Oh yeah. Well, they asked me, "Do you think you're too nice?"
Game.
Well, it was hard for me because it's like an adult camp. You send your kids away for a camp for 2 weeks, like in New Hampshire, and they come back and they have these friends for life, and they've been there for 2 weeks. Well, we were an adult camp without luxury because we didn't get anything. We didn't get any snack or recess or playtime, but so it wasn't like a regular camp. But you really bond with these people, and I got to know Spencer and Jeremiah and Jeffra, and I really liked them and Sarah, and I didn't. Then it comes to tribal council, and I'm going to write their name down and squash their dream. I don't feel that good about that,
It's tough.
It's tough.
It's a whole different reality.
It is.
It's not the way that you want to live your life. But in order to play the game of Survivor, it's kill or be killed.
Right.
It's definitely
It
not
definitely
how
is
you
kill
would
or be
want
killed.
to
Right.
live your life, because you would have a
absolutely.
miserable existence.
But I still felt bad, you know what I mean? Because then the other thing too, as you know, because you've played the game, people are telling you about their stories, and Jeffra had this, had survived cancer and had all kinds of stuff with her personal family stuff, and she'd really been through a lot, and I felt like at the end, like it would have been nice for her to win the $1 million, and she had a good intent for it.
Right.
And, it's like, everybody there had with the $1 million had some kind of a give back, except for Cass. She was the only one that was going to buy herself something and this and that and the other thing, but everybody else had some intent of giving back on some level.
Okay, let's talk about Cass right now.
Let's talk about it. My favorite subject.
Let's talk about Cass.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, I called her in my recap No Class Cass.
That's a
because
good one.
She thinks she's chaos Cass. She thinks she's in control. She's this power-hungry person who really lacks social awareness. I liked what you said when you voted her out. You're like, read a book on self-awareness. Okay, so tell me, give me the down low on Cass. What's going on?
Okay, I'm going to try to be as kind as I can.
Okay. Because
but that's
first of all,
difficult for me in this situation. Now, normally I can really find something really positive.
Yeah.
And something really good, because I usually find the positive in somebody. I struggled with her so much that I'm going to give myself some kudos right now and say good for you, Trish, for only lasting 36 days before. I should have snapped on day 20 on her. That's how much she grated on my nerves.
But you can hold
from
it
day
in.
one. I
really,
held it
because
in.
you were responsible for pulling her over onto your side and saving your alliance.
And then Tony made me
merge.
keep the job. I kept coming back and going, she's making my skin crawl, so go back and be nice to her. We need her. I'm like, oh. So I'd go back and be like, oh, Cass, what a great job you did on that. And she'd be like loving it, because she needed constant attention. She needed constant accolades, like, you're great, you're awesome, you're smart.
I always saw that.
You always had to, and I was that person, and I'm good at that. So I just stroked her and stroked her and stroked her. But inside, I was like, ooh. Oh, it was killing me.
Really? Taking one for the team.
Taking one for the team, big time.
What is that? Did you hone that skill over your life or something? How can you do that? You can do that, but someone like Tony can't do that. He needs you to do it.
I'm kind of a complicated person. There's a part of me that's really snappish and can really quickly come right back. And then there's a part of me that can be, but it all depends on the situation that I'm in. But I knew, I had told myself over and over again, you really need to keep your mouth shut, Trish. You can't just be snapping. Because I have a temper, as you can see. I don't think there's any question about that. But I think, for me, I really think I would have snapped a lot earlier, except for I knew it was a game, and she was such a loose cannon. She kept announcing vocally that she was a free agent, and if we needed her, if we even looked at her sideways, with just a little list, she would have been like, you're hurting my feelings, and now I'm going to go with Spencer and Tosh. We had to manhandle her the whole time emotionally, so that we thought that she would stay with us.
Interesting. So she was just trying to keep everyone on their toes around her.
Yes.
Okay.
So we were all really nice to her until then. Tony was really legitimately upset because she thought.
Oh, Tony lost it.
He was really, and I'm telling you, I was after that show last week, my kids were like, Mom, you stop. I couldn't stop laughing because when he came out. He goes, she's got that stupid grin on her face. She's a nut job.
Tribal council, yeah.
No, in the camp. And he goes, she's a nut job. And he was talking to me, and I go, try to let it go if you can. Even then, when you see me go, try to let it go. I was crying, laughing inside because of the stuff that he was saying. He was so funny.
You guys did seem like a little frickin' frat.
Oh, we were
really
like
well.
a great Bonnie and Clyde, Mm-hmm. I understood Tony from the very beginning. I understood his character and who he was. And I knew he was a really, really good human being.
Yeah.
He's a man that loves his wife, takes really good care of his mother. He's just he's a hard worker. He's a genuinely good.
So you can make the distinction between Tony playing the game and blindsiding you, and Tony in the real world.
Yes, I can, but I can't make the distinction between Cass, which is interesting because I believe that what Cass was there is what Cass is all the time, without food and water.
I cannot wait to meet her. I can't wait. I want to meet this woman and see if she does have a different side of her than what we've been seeing on the show.
Well, it will be difficult for her moving on. I mean, as you can see, you've read the tabloids. There's a lot of hate Cass going on, and especially after last night, my phone is blowing up. I mean, people are beside themselves.
It's just unnecessary to be that
nasty.
rude. Yeah.
She was an antagonizer. Like, a lot of the things that they didn't show, like she would say, this is hysterical. She must have said to me 5 times, I'm skinnier than you, you know? And I'm like,
Stop.
we're not on The Biggest Loser. We're on Survivor. I'm not trying to lose more weight than, you know what I mean?
You were too skinny.
Well, I was grossly skinny.
Thank God you
but it
beat
wasn't a
something.
competition, but that was her mindset. Like, I'm getting skinnier than you. That's great.
Interesting.
And then she would say things like Spencer was getting really upset about college because he had taken a semester off, and he's he's obviously a very smart guy, and he's a student. And he was kind of talking to me about how he was, getting a little worked up about, because he had so much time to think. So he was thinking about his future and going
Everyone
back to
has
school.
so much time to think out there, yeah.
Yeah, so you spin, I was thinking, too, about the bills I hadn't paid and if my kids were okay, and, you're thinking.
You gotta keep your mind in the game. Shut off all that chatter.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she would go in for the kill, like later,
So
like
she
say
saw
something.
people's soft spots.
She saw people's soft spots, and she said it perfectly. I think the cast projected herself perfectly as she is. She said it last week in one of her private interviews. She said, I love seeing people at their worst. I love seeing people squander. I love seeing people, I love having the power of ruining people's dreams.
Heroes versus villains, too.
This is, to me, is the complete antithesis of who I am. I like to bring the best out in people. I like to see people at their best. I don't like to see people uncomfortable.
Sure, no wonder you guys butted heads.
Yeah, so it was like everything about her was just the complete opposite of me.
Yeah.
And she kept referring to her daughter as her kid. She never said her name,
She didn't want to say anything. She told you she was an animal farmer.
She told us
Yeah.
that she was a she lived off the grid and she raised reindeers, and she brought reindeer to Ellen DeGeneres and did all their parties at Christmas
What an
time.
elaborate lie.
It was a very elaborate lie, and I believed it. I believed it. I could see her perfectly working with reindeer and animals.
Things that don't talk.
Things that don't talk and
English.
talk back. Yeah.
All right, let's get some of the fans involved. I believe Bryce is asking us a question.
I can't wait to meet Bryce.
How did Trisha's daughters react to her doing so well on the show? P.S. I love her Boston accent. See you next week.
That's so cute.
We love you, Bryce.
That's so funny. My kids were very proud of me that I went on the show. I tried to get on for 10 years. Everyone's like, give up the dream, give up the dream.
10 years you tried?
10 years.
Wow.
10 years.
Okay, great.
And I think I put in 7 different tapes. And so everybody at that point of the game was like, give up the dream. But I was like, no, I'm not giving up on myself. I'm not giving up the dream. I'm going on Survivor. I don't care if it's the last thing I do. I'm going on Survivor. So I think they were more proud, to answer Bryce's question, I think they were more proud that I did what I said I was going to do and I followed through. And that I was so happy about it. I think they were happy for me because it was hard for them to leave.
That's a great example to show your children never to give up on your dreams.
And even though you get, and not only that, but rejection.
Yeah.
Kids in this world, these kids in this in our world now, they're not used to rejection.
Right.
We make everybody gets a medal, and everybody goes home feeling good.
Yeah.
But once you get out of high school, there's a big world out there that doesn't want to make your world okay. They're not going to give you a medal for everything, and they are going to reject you.
You have to be able to bounce back.
You have to be able to handle
and
that.
keep trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It comes from that core Pilates work that you've been doing your whole life.
Right. And just growing up Irish Catholic in a big family,
Yeah, you got to fight for
You
survival.
gotta fight for,
You're no stranger to that. All right, this one is from Rip Key. Do you think Cass votes out of revenge or strategy? Ugh, back to Cass. Do you think she votes out of revenge or strategy? Is it emotional?
Do you
What
think
does Cass vote from?
I think that Cass had not 1 ounce of strategy. I think everything that she did in that game was all based on emotion. I think it was based on her feelings, whatever she was feeling at the time. She was a free agent. She never had really any allies. And so I don't think she had strategy. I think she was an emotional player.
Yeah, I see that too. I definitely do. Because it didn't make any sense for her to turn on her original tribe once the switch up came.
Right.
No sense. And she was switching from a great spot in a final 3 to a bottom spot in Alliance of 5.
And the other thing is that she was going to go back over with Tosh until she was going to vote with Tosh.
Until you got her to stick?
No, not last night, but the week before. And then remember, Tosh said, well, Tony's like
Tony's
a villain,
like the
and all of a
Russell.
sudden she was like, oh, all of a sudden now she's like, okay, I'm done with you.
Right.
I'm going to go back. You know what I mean? There was no sense of...
Yeah. Just playing out of
just
fear.
whatever happens. Like at 2 o'clock, this is what I'm going to do. At 2:02, I think I'm going to change my mind.
Whoever gets to you at the end, at the last minute, that's what you do. All right, this one's from Sarah. Oh man, we have everybody involved. Sarah Lacina's watching out there. Hey girl. Will you have Trish tell us a joke? I promise you won't regret it. Perfect. Tell us a joke.
Okay. You have to be fairly clean. Okay. So there's an older couple, and they're at the doctor's office, and the older man is hard of hearing. So he says to his wife, the doctor says, "And how are you today, Mr. Sullivan?" He leans over to his wife and he says, "What'd he say?" And she said, "He asked you, how are you today?" He says, "I'm fine, I'm fine." So the doctor said, "Well, before I can, do this exam, I'm going to need a urine specimen, a semen specimen, and a bowel movement." And he leans over to his wife, and his wife says, "What'd he say?" And she said, "He said he needs a pair of your underwear."
That's really good. That's good. I liked it.
She's talking about another joke, but I'll get that one at finals. I'll
We're
get
live, Sarah. There's kids watching. Come on. All right, this question's from Gabriel. What was your best move, and what move do you regret most?
Probably my best move was getting Cass to vote with us, because I never felt good about getting Jeffrey to come back with us, because then Tony blindsided her. Mm-hmm. So I felt really bad about that, because I convinced her to come back, because I really trusted that she would be okay with us. I didn't know that he was going to blindside her.
Right.
So that was my biggest regret, I think. And my other regret that I said earlier is that I didn't try to convince Sarah a little bit more, that somehow Sarah didn't stay instead of Cass, because she would have been so much better to play the game. It was so much more fun, so much more entertaining. And I think people were really upset to see Jeffrey and Sarah go. I think they were a big part of the season,
Mm-hmm. Where's Jeffra? Is she watching too? She must be.
And the other thing I just want to say about Jeffra is that, I read, in the media can be really cruel, but they were saying, Jeffra Bland is as bland as her last name. And let me tell you something about Jeffra Bland. That girl is spicy.
Yeah. For sure.
She would stick up for herself. She's a tomboy. She was like a wicked regular Joe. She was as nice as she was pretty. And honestly, I don't think that she got the edit that she truly is. And I just wanted to make that really clear.
Well, it's hard to get that airtime when Tony's running around scrambling, finding idols, building spy shacks. He's the cameramen are chasing after him, trying to make a story, I think. So
and Morgan was
Jeff is a little slower.
Yeah, and Morgan was a wonderful person too. She said a couple of stupid things that made her look bad, but she wasn't that person.
Yeah, that's why I love having you guys come into the studio, because I get a real taste of who you are outside of this edit. It's just a small piece of
who you really
what
are.
A person really is
so
when you're
true.
watching on the show. And that's what a lot of the people who do watch the show and the media that don't get a chance to meet you guys, they miss out on the comprehensive picture of who you are as a human being, right? They just see, for me, my last name is Shallow. I get that all the time. Shallow by name, shallow by nature. I'm oh, okay, whatever you want to think, right? Jeffra Bland, Parvati Shallow.
Right.
It's just you don't have anything to prove, but it's nice to get a fuller picture of who you are.
I completely agree.
I love that.
Right.
I love doing that. And then it's nice because the fans get to write in and ask questions and get involved in the show too.
Right, this is true.
So they can really find out who you are also.
I know. That's a good question. That's a good
All right,
point.
this one is from Lena. Between the remaining Final Four, who do you think deserves the win the most?
I think in the Final Four, if I could see Spencer and Tony sitting next to each other, I think that I would feel good about that. I think they both played the game really hard. I think they played it both differently. Mm-hmm. But I think they played it hard. Both played it very hard, and I think Spencer was always, behind the scenes, trying to, he was the bottom of the barrel and always
the whole time,
and he had the worst luck out there, and except for the food challenges, and Tony obviously played the game so hard, and he was up 24/7, and he was always spinning, and I think those two deserve to win it the most. I really do.
They played such polar opposite games,
but both fantastic games.
Right,
both,
I agree.
Both really admirable games. I think.
But they could both use a little coaching on how to play their immunity idols better.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would say they played great games.
They played unbelievable games.
If they would have given you the immunity idol, if you would have found it, how would you have played it?
I never wanted to find it because and Spencer, it's funny because Spencer said to me, I went out with Spencer last week for a beer. He was in Boston, and he said to me, I think you're right about that idol thing, because I was like, that's why you didn't see me looking for the idol. Even though I wanted the idol, it would be great. But once you get that idol, you're either, you're a jerk for not telling anybody, or you're a total threat because you have it. And I think it just brings on so much more stress than you need,
It's interesting. It leads to a sort of false sense of power.
Yes,
also.
it does. It really does.
You could see that.
Yes.
With Tony with his bulletproof vest walking around like, you're next.
On the back of
really?
Tricks.
Oh, you're next.
Just back of
It's like, oh man, buddy, keep it, lock it up, okay? All right.
It was great.
We're getting down to the wire. This one is from Miss Quaxton.
Miss Quaxton.
Interesting. Sounds like one of Cass's animals
Right.
on her farm. Are you impressed with how long Spencer has survived since the merge?
Oh, I'm impressed by Spencer, that how much he made it on the merge. I'm impressed by the fact that we were out on Survivor and he was a gentleman. So was Tony. Tony always made sure that everybody had water and had food. And that's the other thing that you never saw about Tony, is that he's a very Greek, authentic man, so he's a caretaker.
Sure.
So he made sure everybody had food, he made sure everybody had water, he made sure that everybody got a space to sleep. He was very kind and caring. But to go back to Spencer, Spencer was so well-read and so easy to talk to. Like, I'm so impressed by not his game, but I'm impressed by everything that he is. Everything that he represents. He's really an amazing person, and I'm looking forward to meeting his parents and saying, wow, you should be really proud. What a great job.
Oh, that is the nicest thing you can do.
Truly.
Parent,
he's
right?
a really, really good human being.
Great. So you've made some lifelong friendships from your adult summer camp experience that you never want to have again, or what? Would you play again?
In a heartbeat.
Really?
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Wow.
My parents were like, "Are you kidding?"
Would you fatten up before you went out?
I would be like hanging out at Haagen-Dazs.
Perfect. I'm going to give you a gift from our Survivor store. CBS.com Survivor store. You can get this glow-in-the-dark mug.
Ooh.
That's what I'm giving you. But since you wanted peanut M&Ms, we filled it up for you.
Oh, I really appreciate that. I was craving peanut M&Ms. I love peanut M&Ms. This is a real gift. Thank you. I'll eat these on the plane on the way back.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure having you on the show.
To be here. I appreciate it.
Taking Thanks for taking
me.
the time. And we'll see you next week at the finale.
Yes,
also.
can't
I
wait.
think sparks will be flying.
Woohoo, can't wait.
You'll probably have a few words to say to Cass.
Yes.
Okay, look forward to that. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been a real treat. I can't believe it's almost over.
I know,
Check
it's
out the
sad.
exclusive extended preview right now, and we'll see you guys next week for the finale of Survivor Cagayan. Bye.
4 are left. Tony, this New Jersey cop will stop at nothing to win the game. He's found 3 immunity idols and has orchestrated multiple blindsides. Will his aggressive game get him to the end, or will it backfire?
I'm probably the villain, but everything I did was survival based. I came out here to win $1 million, and my focus is still to win $1 million.
Woo! This martial arts instructor is a social and physical threat. But to get to the end, it will take something different from within.
Being able to adapt is very critical. You put water into a bowl, you gotta become the bowl. If I continue to do that, then I have a great shot at coming out on top.
Cass. She nicknamed herself Chaos Cass, and it wasn't far from the truth. She has been the center of conflict and never afraid to change the game. She'll take down anyone who stands in her way.
This is a game. I'm not your friend. I'm not here to be your friend. I mean, it's Survivor. No one has integrity. It's $1 million.
Spencer. His game has been one wild ride. He's gone from top to bottom more than any other survivor. But through it all, he has never given up. Will this underdog finally catch a break?
I have to go into this out for blood, ready to win at all costs, because this is it. This is my shot at the $1 million right in front of me.
Find out tonight who will win the $1 million prize and title of Sole Survivor.